Hey, welcome to RV Capital Talk here on RVNN TV. I'm Andy McCaskey, and I am joined by Mr. Sherman Goldenberg from RV Business. I'm excited about today's episode because it's about technology. Sherman may be less excited because it's about technology, but it's all about the RV business because we're going to be welcoming Jon Corn from RVID.com. Jon, thanks very much for joining us, and what can you tell us about RVID to get us rolling here?
Hey, well, Andy, Sherm, thanks for having me. It's sure a pleasure to be on your show. RVID is something I'm very near and dear to my heart. I'm very excited about it. And what RVID is an industry solution specifically designed for the RV industry. And what it does is it provides very useful data and information and lots of interesting features for each stakeholder in the stream of commerce.
Yeah, Jon, what problem were you trying to solve when you came up with the concept as the founder of the company, and you've spent several years developing this? What immediate problem were you trying to solve?
Well, that's an excellent question. You know, I used to be a general counsel for National RV Holdings, and we owned National RV, obviously, and Country Coach. And at the time, we were having a heck of a problem with lemon law. And the problem was that we were getting information after it was too late. The primary trigger in lemon law cases is too many days in the shop. And we would find out that an RV had spent too many days in the shop after there had already been too many days in the shop. So I realized that the only solution to get ahead of that problem and stay in front of it was to be able to count those days in real time and be alerted when we got to a stage where there was potentially a concern. And then once you had that data, you could do two things. You could provide a very proactive brand of customer service. You could reach out to the customer and the dealer and let them know you cared, let them know you were helping. And then you could also work behind the scenes to help get that RV back on the road.
Jon,
and that was the genesis of RVID. It's since turned into a lot more.
Jon, for the non-techies watching, you know, in its purest form, the RVID is a small, in my reading, a small black box about the size of an iPad, right?
iPhone. You can see why, Jon, you can see why Sherm wouldn't let me ask this question because he wants just exact kind of the basics.
We want to know what this thing is as it sits on a table before we hear all the theories.
Well, I can help with a visual aid. I actually brought one with me, and I'll hold it up here. But this is the actual piece of hardware, the device that goes into an RV.
And it goes where on an RV?
Well, that's up to the particular manufacturer or the dealer or whoever is installing it. There are a large variety of locations where it can be installed. The device itself doesn't require any high-tech manner of installation. It can actually be zip-tied into place.
Or glue?
And well, you probably wouldn't use glue. I think most of our current customers are just using zip ties, and then it's wired. There's a 3-wire installation. It literally takes just a matter of minutes once you know what you're doing, and then a couple of zip ties and you're in business.
So it just hooks into the 12-volt system on the unit then, and from that point forward, is there any routine maintenance required with it?
No, Andy, it doesn't require any maintenance, and that's the neat thing about it, is that once it's installed in the RV, you don't need to look at it, touch it, or do anything with it. There is firmware inside that little sophisticated black box, and if we ever want to upgrade that, believe it or not, we can do that over the air just from our own software systems, and we can send out those upgrades just automatically through the ether.
Okay, so it taps into GPS, and that determines where the unit is, and then it uses a cell phone network to get that data back to you. Is that kind of a summary of it?
That's exactly right. GPS is the data in, and then we use an advanced wireless system for the data out. And then once that data comes into our system, we have a sophisticated and patent-pending analytics engine that interprets that data and then displays the appropriate pieces or parts of it depending on the customer type.
Lemon law being one of your prime motives in doing this, really strict on the West Coast, isn't it?
Well, it's strict on the West Coast, particularly in California. And there's a number of other states too. The ones that come to mind are Texas and Florida, Wisconsin, New York, and Oregon. So it's pretty strict all the way around. Most states have copied California's law. It's just, I think, more prevalent in California, maybe because of the large number of attorneys that are employed in this great state.
We won't go there. But the point is in a lot of cases, what you're telling us is there's not a lot of margin for error on the dealer's part in repairing a unit.
That's exactly right, Sherman. And the reason why the RV industry has always been in a very difficult spot when it comes to lemon law is that the lemon laws were designed with automobiles in mind. And then our great state legislatures in their wisdom just said, well, let's throw RVs into that same mix, not really realizing that RVs were a far different beast than automobiles with a much different setup in terms of the dealer network.
Well, a couple of things that I want to go into, we're probably going to roll into another segment. Would remind you that today's edition of RV Capital Talk brought to you in part by GoToMeeting. And if you go to gotomeeting.com, and you can sign up for a free 30-day trial with HD Faces. And in fact, we're actually using GoToMeeting as a part of our demonstration that we'll have here in the next segment. So we'll wrap this up. Join us for the next segment where we look at the fact that this is not only a dealer product, but it's also a consumer product. Stay tuned. Come back here on RV Capital Talk.
For more TV like this from the world of RVs, head to RVNN.tv.